3, 2, 1.
106.7 The Fan.
Time out.
Chad Dukes, yes, sir. Are you videoing the videographer?
Absolutely.
I mean,
you video me, I video
the
you.
Heyman Hustle is unbelievable at this point. First of all, Paul, the website is kicking ass.
This just for the lawyers.
Okay, just to make sure that you're covering your own ass.
Absolutely.
Dude, you're breaking news now that isn't MMA or wrestling. It's just breaking news. Like, when did you decide to get in and become like a TMZ yourself, a Perez Hilton, and do the same thing? Because the site's on fire right now.
Well, I'm not a fan of TMZ,
Right.
nor am I a fan of Perez Hilton.
We're on the same camp.
I grew up in the era that guys like sex and sports. And so we started the Heyman Hustle to bring the most extreme sex and sports to the web, available today.
And it's working out wonderfully.
It certainly is for me, thank you.
But it is getting picked up all over the place. What a run. First of all, right now you are currently representing two of the hottest stars in the WWE. Was that the ultimate plan the whole time? How did that all come to fruition that you would be talking for both of these guys?
No, this has actually been quite a surprise because I watched last year's WrestleMania on a pirated video stream.
Oh.
And am I not supposed to admit it?
I don't know. I'm sure
If I admit that I own 10% of the company that owned the video stream, I'm not supposed to admit that either. Oh, the Fertitas will probably come after me if I say that, so I'll deny that I ever said it. Let's rewind that in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I watched last year's WrestleMania
live on pay-per-view
on someone else's pirated video stream. Somebody from Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
I think it was you.
No, I'm not getting it.
No, you sent me the link.
It's
you
not
did.
Chad Dukes.
You
No.
said watch it here.
I'd like to make that very clear.
Why?
I pay for the pay-per-view.
Did you give
Stop
me
it.
that link and the video stream?
I'm being camered right now.
This year I'm in 2 of the 3 main events for WrestleMania with my 2 best friends in my own home market. So, boy, karma passed over my house, didn't it?
Well, the wild thing is that, and we had Punk over here, we're very lucky to talk to him as well. You get some of the same rub where you are supposed to be a bad guy right now, and you get cheers, you get chants, you get people that are excited to see you. Is that something you like, or is it your goal to make people dislike you? Because it doesn't seem to be working for everybody in the crowd.
I've always gone by the concept that there's no accounting for taste. And if you're cheering us, you got your head firmly up your ass. Because we hold you in contempt and disdain at all moments of the day.
Speaking of that, the angle with Paul Bear, unbelievable. And I think that we saw something on the website where the family's cool with it, but how much are you involved in all of that? That's just has been, this was already going to be the biggest match in WrestleMania, but just what you guys have been doing leading up in those weeks has just taken it to the next level.
Well, we got the final segment of the last Monday Night Raw before the biggest WrestleMania of all time.
Not bad at all.
Not a bad position to be in.
So, like, is that something, though, that are you part of that whole process of, like, let's go out there and let's dump ashes all over the Undertaker?
I'm the one that was involved in it, so, I mean, my involvement certainly is to the extent that I agreed to do it.
Yeah.
Which is just as bad as coming up with it. Because you could always look at somebody and go, oh, my God, pal, you kidding me? What, you want me to do what? And I'm sitting there going, yeah, how far can we take this?
Well, at first, though, when you came out and you had the pillows and you had the makeup and everything, everybody in our section was like, oh, my God, the whole thing was fake. That's actually Paul Bearer coming out.
How do you know it wasn't?
Well, it looked, when the close-up actually took place, it looked like maybe there was a few differences in what his normal appearance would be.
Leave it to a Jew to portray a resurrection the day after Easter Sunday, right?
I don't think that had anything to do with it. At least I hope.
Of course it did. That was part of how offensive it was supposed to be.
That was the whole shtick.
Of course. It was designed to offend. It was designed to be controversial. It was designed to piss people off. And I wish it went even further than it did.
When you talk about going further than it did, I'm amazed. I don't want to say the things that are allowed because I don't think you care. I see your tweets and I see some of the things you say about, I don't care if this is being said, we're going to go out and take care of our business. But it's unbelievable how much you guys get away with, especially you and Punk, you and Brock Lesnar attacking people. It just seems to me that you guys are given an enormous amount of creative freedom inside the company.
And it works for them. It's to their benefit. We're sitting here in the middle of a weekend that's going to generate around $150 million in revenue.
Right.
And 2 of the 3 main events that drove that revenue are based around Brock Lesnar and CM Punk's actions. So I would say it's a smart business move to give us that freedom, to give us that opportunity, to give us that leeway, because obviously it's been a very successful formula.
Certainly has. The rumors, and everyone is kind of pining away to see this, is the Paul Heyman guys at some point coming to blows. Is that something you
Coming
think
to
could ever,
blows?
Yeah, that's something that could ever happen?
Oh, do you think maybe we could get a little run out as a team first before they actually come to blows?
I mean, that would be phenomenal as well.
Of course it would. But then again, listen, if they happen to come to blows, I got both sides of a main event.
Yeah, but
It's not bad.
wouldn't you have to choose one side?
Why? See, now isn't that conventional thinking?
Yes.
I'd have to choose between
It
the
would be,
two.
yes.
Listen, I'll tell you my theory of life. I have a hot girlfriend.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. To her as well.
Absolutely.
I have another hot girlfriend
Okay.
on the side.
Okay. Congratulations to both of you.
And to her as well.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, I can sit there and lie to them both and say, honey, you're the one. And then go to the other one and go, baby, you're the one. Or I can get them together and have the best of all worlds. Now, you tell me.
What's preferable?
Do you want to live the double life? Or do you sit there and say, can't we all get along? Right? So, why can't I have both sides of the main event? What's wrong with that?
And if it works.
Where's the thinking, man? See, all these people with this conventional thinking that you have to be, monogamy is not only in regards to a sexual relationship.
Right.
People try to tie monogamy into business relationships too. This whole concept of exclusivity is so annoying to me. You got to spread your wings, man. You have to expand your horizons. They openly think about things that have not been done before. I'm managing 2 of the 3 main events at Wrestlemania. Who'd have ever thought this was possible? I'd like to manage the 1 main event at Wrestlemania. You go, which guy would you like to manage? Both! Both!
That
Why
works.
not? I'm a New York Jewish kid, man. These are the things you haggle for. Okay? You go down, they say, what do you want? You want a pastrami on rye? You want a corned beef on rye? I want both.
Both
Give
now.
me them both. Give me half of a pastrami and half a corned beef. Give me this side of the ring. Give me that side of the ring. I'll give you a WrestleMania main event that'll blow your socks off.
Some unconventional thinking you just talked about. You're involved in both the professional wrestling world and the mixed martial arts world. It seems to me that while the two will flirt with one another, they don't ever really cross over. Is there potential there for something like that, for
No.
those two worlds to collide?
Absolutely not.
And why not?
Because the moment you incorporate the concept of sports entertainment, once the bell rings, into MMA, the desire for the MMA fan to look at everything involved and say it's 100% legitimate is then compromised, which would kill MMA here in this country immediately. Plus, while there's a desire for WWE fans to see something 100% legitimate
Sure.
in terms of competition, once the bell rings, there is no desire for the opposite for the UFC or the Bellator or the Invicta fan.
It's funny because your client, you read the numbers on the pay-per-views when he left that arena and came back to this one. It's staggering. So it goes to your argument that for some reason professional wrestling fans would like to see that mixed martial arts fan would not. I wonder why that is, because it's still 2 guys stepping into a ring and fighting one another.
From what I understand, the buy rate for Nick Diaz versus George St. Pierre is through the roof. And it doesn't surprise me because it had a very sports entertainment style build-up.
Absolutely.
Whether Diaz wanted it to be that way or not is a whole nother story. That's just him. He's just being himself. But I think the lessons of pro wrestling certainly apply to MMA up until the time they say, let's fight.
Simply for promotion.
Absolutely. And it's not just simply for promotion because people can see through bullshit. And I know you have to bleep that.
No, you're fine.
So I said balloons. But people can see through balloons. See,
Right.
it's like watching Scarface on television.
Melon Farmer.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
Didn't hold up.
If we're sitting here and I just go, I don't like this guy because he's from D.C. and I never liked D.C. because it reminds me of the politicians, and I don't like this guy because he's from New York and he talks about pastrami and corned beef. People are going to sit there and see through our nonsense right away. They're just hyping up this fight. But when there's a legitimate beef between two guys, and it becomes personal, and someone makes it truly personal, then it's the most interesting, compelling, riveting thing that you can possibly have. And in that aspect, as long as it's that's why so many people are riveted by CM Punk. That's why he's so mesmerizing to watch, because everything that man says on television is very real. He doesn't pull punches.
And it comes across that way.
Absolutely. He's authentic. He's genuine. He's not just reading a script. I want to be the best in the world today because that is my goal. He wants to be the best in the world. He's going to tell you he wants to be the best in the world. He means everything that he says on television. Sometimes the volume's amped up a little bit, but he means what he says. Brock Lesnar's very real. He doesn't come any more real than Brock Lesnar. What you see is what you get. Man doesn't like human beings. I think that translates on television.
It does translate pretty well.
And therefore, what you see are two very real people, which is why they come across that way, which is why the audience is so fascinated in them. I think that same thing transpires to UFC. Boxing, UFC, WWE all have the same three questions to answer. And if you can answer these three questions, you will either draw a rating, sell a ticket, or sell a pay-per-view. Who are these two guys? Why are they fighting? And why should I pay to see it? If you can answer those three questions, you've sold a pay-per-view or a ticket, or you've enticed a viewer to not change the channel. And if you can't answer all those three questions, you're in danger of not making the sale.
It's at Heyman Hustle on Twitter. We had Punk. We were looking after that Punk earlier, and I asked him about the Stone Cold stuff, as everybody does, and he said there's just something in the room when we're together. Everyone feels awkward around us, but we don't feel awkward towards one another, and there's always that what if question. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Well, there's another Paul Heyman guy, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Absolutely.
I'm very intrigued by what could possibly happen if those two ever stepped into a ring with each other. Well, what chemistry they have with each other and around each other, and there's a real combustible element there. You just know it. I mean, they have so much respect and admiration for each other, but man, you just look in each other's eyes going, man, I'd really like to tango with this dude. Yeah.
The likelihood that we'll ever see something like that.
Don't know. I look at it from two different perspectives, and I don't know which one is in Austin's heart. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the catalyst behind what is regarded as the boom period, the big era, the Attitude Era. And that's all thanks to the ascension to the top of the persona Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Sure.
You can never take that away from him. And he made a lot of money doing it. And he made what they call FU money. You can say FU to the world 100 times over. But we are also now in the midst of a weekend that's going to generate $150 million in revenue. You never saw this type of revenue during his day.
No.
So the question then becomes, let's say Austin comes back for WrestleMania 30. Let's say he comes back against CM Punk. Is that a $200 million weekend in revenue? Is that a $200 million gross revenue weekend? And is the catalyst behind that figure going from 150 to 200 Stone Cold Steve Austin? Now, if that intrigues Steve, and it would intrigue me, but I'm not Steve, then I think Steve will be back.
Wow.
If Steve is 100% content with what he's accomplished and does not even want to take the infinitesimal risk that he can tarnish what he's done, then he won't come back.
Last question I have for you, and I really appreciate the time. It's HeymanHustle.com. The Undertaker HBK matches, both of them, I got to see them live, and they were absolutely phenomenal. I think this one's going to, maybe if not eclipse it with Punk, just because of the in-ring ability and the fact that for one match a year, the Undertaker can go as well as anybody. is it even wise to put expectations on what's going to take place during that match? Because it just feels like it has the potential to be just one of these tentpole events that we always remember.
I think CM Punk wants you to have the highest expectations for anything that he's involved in. If CM Punk is on Saturday Morning Slam in the third segment, he wants it to steal the week. He wants people to say, did you see Monday Night Raw? Yeah. Did you see SmackDown? Yeah. Did you see UFC? Yeah. You see the baseball game? Yeah. See the basketball game? Yeah. Hey, what'd you think, man? Did you see CM Punk on Saturday Morning Slam at 17 minutes into the show? Man, he stole my week. He's the headline. That's who CM Punk is. You can have as high expectations as you want for that match. His mindset, his obsession, he lives and breathes to surpass those lofty expectations every single time. That's who he is, and that's why he is what he says he is, which is the best in the world.
We're all Paul Heyman guys today. Thank you so much for the time, sir. An absolute honor. Thank you very much. HeymanHustle.com, at Heyman Hustle on Twitter. Broadcasting live from Wrestlemania. Coming right back on 106.7 The Fan.